When you come to Kvarner, treat yourself to an experience you will remember. Enjoy the luxurious ambience. Experience superior service. Indulge in endless pleasures. The pearl of the tourism offer in the pearl of the Adriatic. Liburnia, Hotels and Villas.
EuroNASCAR 2 just moments away from getting their 2023 season started. The NASCAR Whelen Euro Series is here at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo in Valencia, Spain for the opening round of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. As you saw there on that graphic, we've got warm temperatures. It's up in the 20s here at Valencia this weekend. So we're not lacking in terms of temperature, even though there is a little bit of cloud cover. And the stars and cars of EuroNASCAR are getting ready to take to the circuit for what will be a 15-lap race around this 2.5-mile, 4-kilometer circuit. We've got a very interesting pole sitter for this one. It's the same pole sitter that we had in EuroNASCAR Pro, incidentally. Vladimir Osiortsis, who this year is doubling up in EuroNASCAR Pro and EuroNASCAR 2, will be our pole sitter of this EuroNASCAR 2 race. And we're hoping we get a full grid. And, well, here's Alberto Nasca. And there you go. He was just talking about it himself. I thought I'd let him explain. He's just done one race, the Legends Cup Europe on the support bill here this weekend. The little 5/8 scale replicas of 1930s hot rods powered by superbike engines. He's just been driving one of those for a 10-lap race, Alberto Nasca. Incidentally, that's a race he's won. He's just gone and won a race in Legends Cup Europe. And now he's hopping in the car to do the EuroNASCAR 2 race. So Alberto Nasca keeping himself busy, to say the least, which is very interesting indeed. Quite a different car, it must be said, from your EuroNASCAR stock cars. So it's safe to say that he will have some fresh track experience, but potentially slightly less than fresh in himself, of course, after going through that effort. Those little cars are quite physical to drive, I think that is fair to say. Now we see Paul Dufresne, who will be one of the front runners in this race. Dufresne in the car that Frédéric Gabillon drove a little earlier on. You see the safety car just going to head out and do a bit of a track inspection. Countdown to command currently at 14 minutes, but I think we are a couple of minutes behind schedule at the moment. So we'll have to wait and see if there are any updates to that information. But as we know it at the moment, we are expecting this race to have the engines starting in just under 15 minutes time. This circuit, as we've mentioned, is 2.5 miles, 4 kilometers in length. 14 corners around this circuit, and the driver's just heading out onto the track now. Here's a look at the circuit, though, from the sky. The first corner here at Valencia is, of course, quite a fast left-hander. Turn 2, practically a hairpin. The entire middle sector of this circuit is very stop and start, which makes it very difficult for drivers to preserve the tyres across both races and the qualifying session. They have one set for both races and the quali. And then, of course, you've got that long flowing left-hander, turn 13, which is also a big test for the left side tyres. Circuits where there are a disproportionate amount of corners one way or the other. For example, the Sachsenring out in Germany, that is a circuit that really does eat the tyres, just because so much force is put through one side of the car more so than the other. Thruxton in the UK is another example of that as well. Valencia a little more balanced on that front, and obviously the corners themselves are a little bit slower than those examples by and large, but still a long sweeper like that is going to make a difference across 2 races and 1 qualifying session on a pair of tyres. You see the great and the good making their way out onto the grid then. And I'm sure that everyone here at the circuit and in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series side of things will work hard to try and get this race started on schedule. But as you can see, that countdown to command isn't far away from striking zero, so we'll have to see how things shake out. There is the 88 car then. Of course, last year that would have been Alberto Nasca, but he is shuffled around within the Cal Racing operation this year. He will be driving, of course, the 56 car, this machine with Roberto Benedetti at the wheel this year. So Benedetti driving the 88 for this season. It is Vladimir Osiotsis and Paul Dufresne then who will be on the front row of the grid. Nasca and Capelli set to be on row number 2. And funny enough, Claudio Remigio Capelli was also just racing in Legends Cup Europe as well. So both of our drivers on the second row of the grid have just done a race and are now expected to do another one, which should be interesting. They are two relatively short races, 10 laps followed by 15. But the conditions down there on the circuit are certainly suboptimal. Neither a Legend car nor a EuroNASCAR has particularly much in the way of accoutrement for the drivers. So they're going to be warm by the end of this 15-lapper, Nasca and Capelli, given they've just done a little bit of a pre-workout in the form of a 10-lap Legends race. Our pole sitter Vladimir Osiotsis then has pulled up on pole position for the second consecutive race. Here's Martin Dubeck, the 2021 EuroNASCAR 2 champion. Now, where is he lining up on the grid? He lines up in 8th on the grid. He's the most recent EuroNASCAR 2 champion on the grid because, of course, the reigning champion, Liam Hazemans, is focusing solely on EuroNASCAR Pro for this season. So he is in the paddock, but he is not driving the number 50 car in this race. The number 50 car, though, is high up the order, set to start 5th, courtesy of Gil Linster. Linster will be joined by Romagnoli on the third row of the grid in the 65 car. Romagnoli had a bit of a mixed fortuned race in EuroNASCAR Pro earlier on. He's one of quite a few drivers, actually, that's doubling up this year between EuroNASCAR Pro and EuroNASCAR 2. Ricardo Romagnoli for the Club Motorsport. He had 2 spins that we saw on camera, the second of which ended up in him not finishing the race, not taking the flag at turn 2. He ended up stuck in the gravel, but thankfully didn't bring out a safety car at the end of the race. Of course, Romagnoli not lacking experience either, so you certainly can't put it down to first race jitters or anything of that nature. He has been a racer here in EuroNASCAR now for 2 years. It was his second season for Romagnoli, but has a record including 2 Formula 3 championships, Clio's, the World Touring Car Championship, of course. So much racing pedigree for him. Meanwhile, our diligent reporter Andre Viegold has tracked down our pole sitter. Let's have a word with him now.
Vladimir Osiotsis, second race today, second pole position and another shot to win a race.
Yeah, sure. Will give my best, and yes, consistency, and I will fight for the win.
All right. Have fun. Good luck.
Thank you.
There you go. Fairly simple stuff then from Vladimir Osiotsis. I think he'll feel a little bit aggrieved with how the EM Pro race went earlier on for him. Had a decent run, but obviously from pole position you hope for, if not expect, to win, and that was not the case. He was already down to practically third place by the first 2 corners of the race and had to work very hard indeed to get back to P2. Meanwhile, we're with Paul Dufresne.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Paul, front row start. How is it going?
Yeah, it's amazing to be on the first row, and yeah, it's just like a dream for me. You know, last year I wasn't fighting for those places. Now I have a new team, and I'm already able to be on the first row. So this gave me a lot of good objective for the year.
All right, good luck and have fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Paul Giuffredo there referencing, of course, the fact that he is in a different machine this year, and already that partnership looking good between himself and RDV Competition. Giuffredo looked like he had potential last year. He was always scrapping and always showing good pace, but the results never quite came together. So this front row start is already the sign of potential optimism to come. I'm sure we're about to go to the second row of the grid and hear from some more drivers, and when we do, those drivers might be slightly more out of breath than those that have spoken just now, because both Capelli and Alberto Nasca have just gone racing, which is an entertaining predicament. But there is actually Claudio Remeggio Capelli's car, so let's have a word with him now.
Beard right now, but we have to talk about racing. What is your goal here today? You have a decent starting position.
Well, yes, it's here to speak with you means to be in a good position, so it's nice. Yes, it's my best position in qualify. This year is a new team. My teammate is Giorgio Maggi, so I have a lot of things to learn by him. As the first is this, to be here.
Thank you so much. We have national anthems now.
Y como que acoge la EuroNASCAR, hoy escuchamos el himno nacional. Ahí estaban los compases del himno nacional y como todos los días que tenemos la NASCAR.
There you go. Now we saw there everyone standing for the Spanish and US national anthems. We saw there as well, standing by the number 50 car, both Liam and Loris Hazemans. And Loris Hazemans, of course, a EuroNASCAR champion in his own right in years gone by. He is coaching both Gil and Liam. Over to Andre.
Ciao Alberto, you told me earlier today you hate being in the second row, you want to be in front. What is your plan to win this race?
No plans. This is the best plan in the world. I mean, I just improvise and see what happens. Ciorcis is not known for having great starts, and that's bad because it's right in front of me. But he's known for being very fast during the race, so it really depends on the first corner. Giuffredo this year is going very fast, much faster than last year, so it's going to be a nice race.
All right, thank you so much. Enjoy.
Thank you. Bye.
Grazie.
There you go. Alberto Nasca, of course, social media star, content creator, and I know a lot of people are watching on to cheer on Alberto Nasca. He came so close to last year's EuroNASCAR 2 championship, lost it in the final race to Liam Hazemans, and Nasca laser focused on winning a EuroNASCAR 2 title. I'm sure has aspirations of stepping up to EuroNASCAR Pro in years to come as well. And that second row Capelli and NASCAR, two very different drivers. Of course, Capelli is also the Legends class pole sitter here, as it were. So Capelli, the first of your Legends trophy winners. You've also got the rookie trophy, which Thomas Dombrowski, he's the first of them on the grid in 11th place. And hopefully everyone gets through that first corner cleanly. We're expecting 23 starters in this race, and we're also expecting the command in just over 90 seconds. So they've done a good job here of getting the cars out on the grid following the previous race, and we should be right on schedule for the command for drivers to fire up their V8s. Small block V8s, pretty standard engines all told, should be producing somewhere in the range of 400 horsepower apiece. But given these cars have a curb weight of 1,200 kilos, which is fairly light all told, these are very quick machines, very analog machines as well. They are interesting cars. I was talking to a couple of drivers that did GT4 and EuroNASCAR last year, and they said, you know, it's interesting. It's almost like an analog GT4 car with a little bit more straight line speed. It's a very interesting machine. Is a EuroNASCAR machine, a stock car, of course, and all prepared by Team FJ, the organizer of this series, and the long-standing partnership between NASCAR and the organisers continues on for another fabulous year in 2023. We can see we're missing at least one car. I think, unfortunately, that's where the 58 car should be. So we are one car down at the very least. And I'll throw down now to the grid, where we should soon hear the countdown to the command.
Parados aquí para la gran frase mítica. Gonzalo, la parrilla es tuya.
Drivers, start your engines.
Nuevamente hemos hecho la magia, nuevamente ha salido bien.
Yeah, there we are. The engines are fired then, and we will have 15 laps of racing in the next few moments. The grid will now be vacated, and the pace car will lead them off the line for the formation lap. 2x2 start, of course, here. There's also the possibility beyond those 15 laps of a 2-lap overtime. We usually try and get the race finished under green flag conditions here in EuroNASCAR. And that's not to mention, of course, the double file restarts that we tend to get as well after a safety car or pace car caution intervention. Of course, is very much in keeping with NASCAR's regulations, but very much out of step with most European motorsport. It is a convergence of European talent and American attitude in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series across both categories. And it makes things very exciting indeed. Of course, we've had some true NASCAR luminaries not just making guest appearances in cars, but also coming to have a look at the series as well. And a big part of the global expansion of NASCAR is the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. The formation lap then begins here. 15 laps of racing will begin in just a few moments, and it is going to be Vladimiros Tsiotsis who, for the second race in a row, leads them away at the sharp end of the order. He's got Paul Dufro for company, though, in that number 3 car. Dufro should be competitive from the outside of the front row. Tsiotsis, though, our pole sitter. We heard Alberto Nasca say, well, he's not known for being a good starter. So we'll have to see whether Tsiotsis can break that streak. Third on the grid behind Dufro is Alberto Nasca. Claudio Remigio Capelli will line up in 4th place in the number 18 car. Hopefully they've fixed the brake problems that Giorgio Maggi reported after the Pro race earlier. Gil Linster in 5th in the car that won the race in EuroNASCAR Pro earlier on. Ricardo Romagnoli in 6th place. 7th place for Patrick Schurber, the talented Austrian youngster, 7th on the grid. Martin Dubeck lining up in 8th. 9th position for Mikael Bleekemolen, the 73-year-old ex-Formula 1 driver, in 9th place alongside Dario Casso, the ex-Ferrari Challenge regular. 11th place for Thomas Dombrowski. He's the first of the rookie class runners in this race. Alongside him, Roberto Benedetti in the number 88 car. And to run you through the rest of the grid, the 34 of Toffel is in 13th. Davidson in the 48 car for Marco Stitt Motorsport, 14th position. Paolo Valeri in 15th in the number 8 car. The 46 of Schneider is in 16th. Kenko Miura for Team Japan in 17th. Max Mason, we believe, is not taking the start, unfortunately, in the 58 car. Hopefully it's not weekend over for the 58 team, but they have not come back out after a qualifying shunt earlier today. Strickler in the number 94 car is 19th. Quintal in the 64 is 20th. 21st place for Van Leer in the Cal Racing number 56. Ariana Casoli, the only lady trophy runner out there in this race, 22nd. And Hauer in the number 40 for Speedhouse, rounding out the 23 car order. So the cars are now into 2x2 formation, and we will be racing momentarily here in the EuroNASCAR 2 Championship for the first time in 2023. Much like EuroNASCAR Pro, the defending champion is not here to retain their crown. Liam Hazeman's focusing on EuroNASCAR Pro, leaving an open house to previous champions and new challengers alike here in the EuroNASCAR 2 category. And we're now going to get our first hints, our first indications as to who are the runners and riders in the 2023 season. Round 1 of EuroNASCAR 2 2023 gets underway now, and we are racing. It's a good start by the looks of it from Siortsis, so Alberto Nasca's fears unwarranted. A good start from the number 5. He will lead into the first corner. Second place is going to go to Alberto Nasca in the 54. Dufro trying to hold on around the outside for third place there. He's got Claudio, in fact no, he's got Gil Linster for company. Is that Linster up into third place? It could be one of the others. But everyone trying to find a space through turn 2, and I think everyone has just about succeeded. Holding on to third place ultimately around the outside was Paul Dufro. Fourth place for Claudio Remeggio Capelli, so he's gotten back past Gil Linster, and Linster now losing out potentially to Patrick Schauber, the Austrian driver, trying to find his way through. Romagnoli trying to get involved in that as well. Everyone through the first sector then without too much problem, and Max Mason confirmed as a non-starter sadly, but we hope to see him out tomorrow. Martin Dubeck up the inside of Ricardo Romagnoli, so the 2021 EuroNASCAR 2 champion working his way up through the top 10 now. He'll be keen this year to try and stamp his authority on the 2023 season if he possibly can. I think he had some misfortune and a couple of errors in 2022, which he'll be looking to rectify in the 2023 season. So the field streams through turn 13 and into 14 for the first time of 15 laps. And it is Vladimir Siortsis who is your race leader. Paul Dufro in second place, then it's Alberto Nasca in third position. The field in single file streaming down the main straight for the first time. Thousands upon thousands of horsepower translated through 5.7 litre V8 Thunder. Oh, and I think a little bit of contact there in the battle for third position potentially. I think Claudio Remeggio Capelli was having a very firm look at Paul Dufro, then outbrakes himself into turn 2, gets a nibble of the rear bumper on Dufro, but somehow keeps the car on the straight and narrow. He's going to lose out, however, to Gil Linster. Gil Linster actually not quite able to get through, but round turns 4 and 5, Linster was having a look and may yet get the power down nicely out of 5 and into 6, but Claudio Remeggio Capelli there was bold on the brakes in 2 consecutive corners, and it didn't pay off for him on that occasion. Sometimes it absolutely can, but not in that instance. Got a spinner further back in the pack. I can't quite make it out from this range, but one of the cars in a spin coming out of turn 6. See if we can work that out through the second sector splits. See who fails to come through in position. Dubeck having a look at Patrick Schauber. not quite able to find a way by at turn 11. Some of the drivers really do stray wide going through that section at 12 and into 13. It looks to me as if it was Teufel in the 34 car who spun off in the back of shot at turn 6 on this lap. So potentially Teufel who had a moment there, and also being alerted to the fact that we've had a particularly good start from the driver of the number 48. So a very good start indeed from Jack Davidson, the British rookie, up into 9th place after that first lap, and remains in 9th on lap number 2. So Davidson with a lightning fast start as Martin Dubek dives up the inside, just about gets the car stopped, but can't quite make the apex. So the 27 car goes sidling back through. Patrick Schurber sees the door open up for him again and retains his position. Nice driving from both parties. Dubek, though, be disappointed that he didn't get that car stopped on the apex as intended. Gets the power down to try and maybe go for it again at turn 6. Not quite close enough. Dubek's always been strong when it comes to race pace. He's picking his way through the order. The number 7 car is in 7th, and certainly a top 5 not out of the question. But Patrick Schurber is going to be a very, very worthy adversary. That much is for certain. We've seen a little bit of what Schurber can do in EuroNASCAR. He's also a Formula 4 champion in Austria in the Central European ESET Series and the Drexler Formula 4 Cup in 2021. He had a season of Formula 4 racing that went very, very well for him indeed. And a young talent moving into tin tops, as it were, moving into stock cars, and has certainly been impressive. We had one car off in the back of shot there. It looked to me like it might have been Kenko Miura going through the gravel. As we watch Davidson, the GT Omega backed car. So Jack Davidson in the 48, holding off the advances of Dario Casso. There's a bit of an experience deficit here. Dario Casso, the Italian racer, has driven a lot of laps around this circuit. He knows that turn 1's a good overtaking opportunity, but Davidson tries to hold on around the outside, makes liberal use of the runoff. Also getting involved in this then is Roberto Benedetti, who dives up the inside, but that compromises both he and Dario Casso. And Jack Davidson, very cool-headed driving there, just takes the track and continues on his way unabated. That was very wily driving then from Davidson. Only announced his campaign here in EuroNASCAR a couple of weeks ago, but what a joy it is to have another young talent in the category. As we do every year, we welcome a new class of rookies, and also bring people up from EuroNASCAR 2 into EuroNASCAR Pro. And certainly Davidson, after that good start, is having to do a lot of fighting to retain this 9th position, isn't he? And I think he's just lost out. He might be able to hold on to the place, though. He's got the inside line into turn 11, bucks it over the curbs, and just about manages to stay in the saddle. 48 car still in 9th place, despite the advances then of Roberto Benedetti. I heard word as well in my ear that it was potentially the 46 car of Schneider that went off on the gravel a lap ago, so potentially Schneider with a little bit of an off-track moment. He has continued on unabated. So then we're at 1/3 distance in this race as we go on to lap 5. And at the moment it's a very interesting three-way scrap that we're watching for 9th, 10th and 11th places, as Davidson continues to defend hard up against both Benedetti and Dario Casso. And Davidson gets the elbows out there, as is customary. And this time, Dario Casso manages to capitalise on Benedetti's overtaking failings and moves back past him. So it's once again Casso in the number 9 car. Having a look at the back of that 48. Davidson making that car wide. It's not Jimmy Johnson versus Casey Kane, it's Davidson. versus Dario Casso. And oh, Casso gives him a nudge. That's more than a helping hand. Both cars off into the gravel. Oh dear. Casso was just way too ambitious on the brakes there. He manages to get himself onto the tarmac escape road, and that's served him well. Davidson's lost more time as a result of that one, and I think Davidson is going to find himself down somewhere in the high teens, if not 20th. It was a big bump then from Dario Casso to Davidson, and it's benefited neither party. It has, of course, benefited the driver of the 88. So Roberto Benedetti has just seen all of that happen in front of him and said, okay, see you later. Meanwhile, we check in with the battle for 6th place. Patrick Schauber has still not given an inch to Martin Dubek. Dubek has a very prolonged look to the inside, and then kind of had to fight the car a bit to go back to the outside line while under braking. Just about managed to execute that. But a very exaggerated move to the inside there going into turn 2. Meanwhile, Davidson has gotten himself back past Kenko Miura. That places him somewhere in like 16th position, I think. And that's a replay of what happened between himself and Dario Casso. It kind of speaks for itself, really, doesn't it? Sadly, the collision benefited no one. Davidson down to 15th. And Casso in 18th position. I think Dario may have allowed Davidson back past. Car 8, 10-second penalty. I think that's car 9 it will be. Of course, Dario Casso, unhelpfully, is running car number 8 in EuroNASCAR Pro. Martin Dubek still trying to find a way around the number 27 car. And Dubek diving up the inside, nicely done, well executed into the final corner by Martin Dubek, but he's going to compromise his run out of the corner, and that's allowing Patrick Schauber to immediately go back past. It's also worth noticing that 65 car, Ricardo Romagnoli, is not far behind at all. And just about staying in the wheel tracks there is Schauber, but Dubek once again has the inside line, and surely this time Martin Dubek has done enough to claim his 6th position. Well, Patrick Schauber's not giving up without a fight, is he? He's still got a quarter panel to the inside as they go into turn 4. Patrick Schauber refuses to go down in this battle. Blow for blow stuff between the two drivers, and Patrick Schauber is displaying the fact that he has an iron jaw. He gets knocked down, he gets knocked back up again. Patrick Schauber continues to hold on to 6th position then. I'm just understanding that car number 8 actually did get a penalty, so he was the driver, Paolo Valeri. He helped out the 34 car into a spin earlier on. Of course, that was Turfel, who we saw in a spin on lap 1. So both of the Victor Motorsport cars may end up in trouble. The number 8 car with a 10-second penalty for avoidable contact. Of course, the number 9 car, Dario Casso, involved with that collision with Davidson. What remains to be seen whether that will be investigated. More than likely will be, though. In fact, it already is under investigation, so we'll see whether it gets penalised. Meanwhile, Patrick Schauber certainly penalising the race of Martin Dubek. I think Dubek had aspirations of getting past Schauber and trying for a top 5, if not a podium. But Claudio Remeggio Capelli is now 7 seconds up the road in 5th place from this battle, as we once again watch what happened between Davidson and Dario Casso. And while it certainly wasn't intentional to have everything that happened there, I severely doubt that Casso wanted either driver to end up in the gravel. You know, these things are remembered for next time, so the young rookie will learn all of this paint trading stuff as we roll on in the season. Meanwhile, at the front of the order, Vladimiros Siortsis has indeed got a 3.6 second lead at the sharp end of the order at the moment. Car number 9, 10-second penalty for causing an avoidable collision, so the exact penalty that his Vic Motorsport teammate got as well. 10 seconds for avoidable contact, and that is understandable. So good decision from both parties, or rather good decision relating to both parties there. And they'll both drop down the order at the end of this race. But Vladimir Osiortis in the number 5 car, 3.6 seconds clear of Alberto NASCAR. We'll see if that gap goes out this time by. They should have just crossed the line. It has indeed gone out a little bit, 3.8 seconds. So Osiortis is in control. Meanwhile, the number 8 car of Valeri on screen. There's Dario Casso as well. Lock up there for Valeri in the number 8 car. He's got to be careful not to flat spot those tyres because he needs them for tomorrow's race as well. He's just gotten past, I believe that's the 46 car of Schneider. Kenko Miura going defensive on the run down to turn 1. Yes, it is. He's got Mikael Bleekemolen ahead of him. So Bleekemolen, father to Sebastian Bleekemolen, who we saw in the race earlier on. Also Jeroen. Oh, and a collision. Schneider helps around Valeri. And Paolo Valeri, who's already got a 10-second penalty against his name, is now tumbling down the order. Kenko Miura inherits a position as a result of that then, and is now looking for a way past Mikael Bleekemolen as Dario Casso is trying to work his way back up as well, of course. Going to get a replay. I was watching what was going on in the back of shot, I must admit, because it looked as though someone was going for the lunge up the inside as well further back. I think it was Dario Casso having a look up the inside of one of the others, and then a collision sending Valeri into a spin as well. Lots happening all at once at turn 2, and that is often the case. Miura looks like he's struggling a little bit for rear traction at the moment. Behind Bleekemolen, Dario Casso just ahead of, I believe that is Strickler. Car number 46 has gained a 10-second penalty. It's not too much of a surprise, is it? We saw it clear as day. So Nick Schneider gets a 10-second penalty for his troubles as they cross the line in this battle pack to begin lap 10 of the race. It's Bleekemolen in 13th place, then Miura from Casso, and then Davidson, actually. So it's Davidson behind Dario Casso. Oh, and again, Dario Casso has helped someone around. Kenko Miura sent into a spin. Not shy about breaking the fiberglass this evening, are they? There's been a little bit of argy-bargy up and down the order, and Dario Casso once again helps someone into some strife. We'll see what's judged there. Dubek still trying to find a way around Patrick Schauber. Incidentally, the two of them have somewhat dropped. Romagnoli behind, so Ricardo Romagnoli in 8th position is not quite able to keep up with this battle for 6th place. Patrick Schauber still doing a wonderful job in the double V car of holding off Martin Dubek. Dubek, of course, racing for Hendrix Motorsports. Can he finally get away through this time? Looks like he might, yes. Has dived up the inside. You can see that Patrick Schauber's got some loose bodywork as well, which might be losing him a mile an hour or so in a straight line. He's desperately trying to hold on as they collide into the braking zone. Both parties somehow keep the car somewhat in the right direction. Patrick Schauber trying every which way he can to not give up the position. but I think he's finally going to have to yield. It's been valiant defensive driving from Patrick Schauber over the course of this race. This battle has basically been going on from the start, and he's not done yet. He dives up the inside of Dubek, and well, that was from quite a way back, and it was fairly executed, but I reckon Martin Dubek says, okay, we're doing diving, are we? Okay, well, down into turn 8 he goes, and sure enough, he looks to the inside, but Patrick Schauber carries it off. I get the feeling this battle is going to get more physical before a truce is called. And Dubek tries to find a way around at 11 and try and get the power down early now to run towards turn 12. But once again, while I'm sure he's not preserving his rear tyres particularly effectively, Patrick Schauber manages to find a way to keep his foot buried in the gas and stay ahead of Martin Dubek for the time being. They've treated us to some sensational driving in this one. While all of this is going on, Vladimiros Tsiortsis continues to lead the race by 4.4 seconds, but Martin Dubek is going to have another look down into the first corner, isn't he? Once again, with slightly better straight line speed, he muscles Patrick Schauber out of the way, but has he gone too quick into turn 1? No, he keeps it nicely on the pavement. Will Schauber retaliate now? Into turn 2, tries to take the apex, does take the apex, lifts his own bonnet up even more than it already is in the process. Minor touch between the two of them. Now Schauber last time into turn 6, of course, fired right back at Martin Dubek. Surely he's not going to be afforded that opportunity a second time. The answer is no. Meanwhile, Dario Casso has received a 15-second penalty on top of his 10 seconds for a second avoidable collision, as they're still side by side in this battle for 6th position. Schauber once again has P6. Nicely done by Patrick Schauber. He got a better run out of 6, was alongside by the kink at turn 7. And just when Dubek thinks he's gotten past the pesky young Austrian, that happens, and Schauber again locks up massively. He is going to have not much tyre underneath him, I think, when we get to race 2, but that's quite literally tomorrow's problem. For now, Patrick Schauber is focused solely on this battle for 6th place. Of course, incidentally, while all of this is going on, it's allowing Ricardo Romagnoli to sneak up a little bit closer as well. And if I were Ricardo Romagnoli and I'd watched the last, I don't know, 12 laps of this battle across the 13 laps of the race, I'd be sat there thinking, I'm not convinced I'm not finishing in 6th with everything that's going on at this point in the race. Dubek again tries to go to the inside at turn 1, but Patrick Schauber covers him off nicely. Dubek, I think, giving him a little bit of a love tap through the first corner. Will Dubek dive to the inside at turn 2? No. Schauber gave off every intention that he'd cover it off if he tried. Your fastest lap of the race, and therefore most likely your pole sitter for tomorrow, with just over 3 laps, or just under 3 laps left to go, is Vladimiros Tsiortsis. So your pole sitter currently with the fastest lap, and the fastest laps determine the grid for Sunday. While I was talking you through that, Schauber once again coming under threat from Martin Dubek in what has been a brilliant battle for 6th position. Romagnoli firmly involved in it now as well. Just one more instance of these two cars trying to go side by side, and Romagnoli is going to be firmly in the battle too. After a fairly disappointing beginning to his season in EuroNASCAR Pro, Romagnoli will be very keen to try and make a top 6 finish of this. He'll be equally keen to keep his nose clean after a couple of off-track excursions earlier in the day. Looking to the inside there momentarily was Martin Dubek, but couldn't quite get it done. His car seems to be stronger in a straight line. I suspect that's largely down to the damage on the number 27. So let's see if Schauber can hold off Dubek this time as they go down the main straight. They begin the penultimate lap of the race, 5 miles between them and the flag. 8 kilometres if you prefer, and Dubek looks to the inside. Surely he's got it done. He's got the whole car alongside Schauber, but Schauber has a canny way of finding a way back past Dubek each and every time. Let's see if he dives into turn 2. No, holds his station for now. Dubek sometimes ends up drifting wide and just allowing Schauber a method back through. Let's see if that happens again. I think at this point Dubek is surely out of patience and just wants to retain that position. He's going to be hyper focused on keeping that car where it needs to be, but there goes Patrick Schauber again, and somehow they avoid each other. The door was firmly closed on Schauber there by Dubek. Absolutely none of it being had by Martin Dubek at this stage. Got a car off track up ahead of them. Who was that off circuit? Was that Claudio Remeggio Capelli? Or potentially it was a yellow or orangey car, wasn't it? Has Capelli come through the second sector split? I'm watching my timing screen. I don't think he has. He hasn't. It's Claudio Remeggio Capelli who's gone off. Now remember, this car was reported as having brake issues from its driver in the pro race, Giorgio Maggi. So whether that's connected or whether Capelli's just made an independent error, I'm not certain. But what I do know is it's let go at the worst possible time for him. He will lose out on a 5th place finish. The battle between Dubek and Schauber is now for 5th position. So even more reason to scrap, although I feel as though Patrick Schauber may be a slightly spent force at this stage. He will have older tyres. He's got a wounded car. Oh, he's got more worn tyres. Of course, they're all of the same vintage, but he's certainly been wearing them out with some of his sideways and lock-up antics. He's also got a wounded car, and I think that Martin Dubek may have just covered off the threat, but youthful exuberance is a wonderful thing. There might yet be some more movement there. Vladimiros Tsiotsis in the race lead then, coming through the final sector. I'm just hearing that Claudio Remeggio Capelli actually spun, so it could be error rather than reoccurrence of the brake issues for Capelli, who is once again on the move, as we see there. Nonetheless, that won't fix his disappointment in what could have been. Here comes, though, Vladimiros Tsiotsis. He took his first win in EuroNASCAR 2 here at the circuit Ricardo Tormo, and almost exactly 12 months later, he's repeating the feat. It's a win for Vladimiros Tsiotsis in the first race of EuroNASCAR 2 2023, and it's a commanding one at that. He beats Alberto Nasca home by some 4.6 seconds and looks set to be on pole position for the race on Sunday as well. Paul Dufresne rounds out the podium in 3rd place ahead of Gil Linster. This is the battle for 5th place, and Martin Dubek has done just about enough after battling Patrick Schauber for 6th position all race long. That became 5th place after the late issue for Capelli, and Dubek will cross the line in 5th. A solid start to his season. The 2021 EuroNASCAR 2 champions get solid points on the board to begin 2023. Patrick Schauber in 6th place, Ricardo Romagnoli in 7th place, Roberto Benedetti taking 8th ahead of Tom Dobrowski, who will be the first of the rookie drivers home in 9th place. Turfel in 10th place, also a rookie driver, rounds out your overall top 10 ahead of Schneider in the 46, Dario Casso in the 12. Davidson, the youngster, in his first outing, as a 11th place finish. Of course, that's because we had some penalties there. So Schneider has just received his penalty, and Dario Casso as well, of course, is dropping through the order like a stone because of the penalties that have been applied to his race for the various instances of contact. So Davidson ends up inheriting 11th and will stand on the rookie class podium, which is a good result for the 48 driver who started the race oh so well. Toffel, Davidson, Schneider, Muir in 13th place. He's the third of the Legends home. Romagnoli taking the Legends class ahead of Benedetti, and then Miura, who will round out that Legends class podium. He just about beat Mikael Bleekemolen to that honour. Dario Casso will be registered 15th place ahead of Paolo Valeri, his Victor Motorsport stablemate. Strickler in the 94 in 17th, Quintal in the 64 in 18th, 19th place for Ariana Casoli, who by virtue of being the only lady trophy driver there, is 19th and wins that categorization. 20th place for Van Leur in the Cal Racing number 56. Claudio Remeggio Capelli did cross the line in 21st, of course, a lap down after that late off-track moment. Hauer in 22nd, and of course no start, unfortunately, for Max Mason in what should have been his first race in the Racing Fuel Motorsport number 58. Well, certainly drama through the field, but none of it for Vladimiros Tsiotsis. He got the start he so sorely needed, and from there he just drove away. Of course, he had his 18-lap race earlier on in the day. Alberto Nasca hopped into the car straight after a Legends race, a 10-lapper before this one on the programme. So both drivers have done a couple of races today, and I think both drivers can be happy with their day's work. Vladimiros Tsiotsis celebrating what surprisingly is only his second win in EuroNASCAR. Of course, he took just one win in 2022, and that was right here at Circuit Ricardo Tormo. He was a title contender all year long in EuroNASCAR too, and I think that with this he is establishing himself once more as a championship contender. I think we might soon head down there. You can see that Andre Viegold is stood by Vladimiros Tsiotsis. Vladimiros will be out of the car momentarily. Here he comes now. Vladimiros Tsiotsis up onto the roof, celebrating his first win of 2023. He's got the Cypriot flag. The Cypriot superhero will again wear his flag as a cape, as he did in the earlier EuroNASCAR Pro Podium. Proudly waves the flag of his island. And once again, he will take the Cyprus flag to the top of the podium here at Circuit Ricardo Tormo. Based on his qualifying performances this morning, based on this race performance, and indeed his win here last year, I'm going to hazard a guess that he quite likes this Circuit Ricardo Tormo place. Seems to be a track that's suiting him well, and we're now going to hear from him, I think, in just a few moments, Andre Viegold. Can we hand down to you now, Andre?
Okay. Come here.
Go for it, Andre.
Come on. Come here. Let's go here. Good. All right, I'm here with race winner Vladimiros Tsiotsis. Second race,
I did my best, guys. So yeah, we did our job like earlier this morning. So yes, we pushed, we were consistent, and we are in the first place now.
I have to ask, Alberto Nasca told me before the race, you are a bad starter, that is this opportunity. Do you prove him wrong?
Yeah, because in the EuroNASCAR Pro race there was an issue with the starting position, but anyway, this is racing, we accept. And yeah, I showed today that we are here, still rising.
You are on pole position tomorrow again, so you can prove again that you're a good starter?
Sure, yeah.
All right, I have something for you.
Yeah?
This is the winner sticker you can now put on your car.
Wow.
You take it.
Thank you very much.
And you come with me, and we put it together on the car.
Here we go, ceremonial moment then. The sticker goes above the door, the first win. Going to be hoping that's the first sticker of many in this 2023 EuroNASCAR 2 season. He's going to hope that he gets some EuroNASCAR Pro stickers alongside that as well, of course. It's going to be interesting to see which chassis has the most stickers on it by the end of the year, isn't it? So then, we will have the podiums in a short while, but we've already seen the result, of course. Vladimiros Tsiotsis with a brilliant victory. Alberto Nasca second. Solid driving from him. And Paul Dufresne third fastest ultimately. So a good top three, and Alberto Nasca drove nicely in that one. But here is a chat with the battle of the race, Andre.
Yeah, like in EuroNASCAR Pro, we had an amazing battle. We call it the battle of the race. We start with you. Just tell us, how intense was it?
10 laps fighting. I think that Patrick also enjoyed like me, and I think the NASCAR fans want to see some show. So I think that we showed them.
All right, what about your feelings?
Yeah, it was amazing battle with Martin. I'm really looking forward to more like these battles because I really enjoy it, and this was one of my intense battles. I mean, I can't even describe it. It was amazing. I mean, I couldn't hold him up anymore longer because my tires were already done, but it was amazing, yeah.
Question to you, both of you. We start again with you. Is this what we call respect? Is this a blueprint how to battle in EuroNASCAR?
I hope that it will be better. I wanted podium, but I have to tell that I really enjoy this race. This is real racing, pure racing, and I really enjoy it. There was some contact, but I think that everything was clear, and we enjoyed both. And tomorrow I will fight for the podium, for sure.
You?
Yeah, I mean, if we don't crash each other out, then it's amazing racing. Also with the contact, I love that with the contact. I think this is racing. This is what NASCAR wants to see, and we also, as drivers, also enjoy it really.
Thank you so much, guys, for the amazing show.
Amazing show. I concur wholeheartedly, and good to see that both drivers on speaking and sporting terms after that. It was Dubek on the left and Schauber on the right in that conversation, and great to have them as we go down for another interview.
You won the rookie trophy today. Amazing job, but you look a little bit exhausted.
Yeah, I am. More you pass the laps, more the car is hot, more is hot in the car, and less grip you have, less brakes you have. So that's really exhausting.
All right, thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so that's Thomas Dąbrowski, the winner in the rookie standings, 9th overall as well for Dąbrowski. So the Team Blake-Molen driver putting in a good shift there. Be interesting to see what the grid shakes out like once we organise that. But I can tell you that one driver who should move up a bit is Kenko Miura. He was quite a bit quicker than some of those ahead of him. I think he'll be starting within the top 10 later on when we go racing on Sunday morning. This was the race then. It started with a solid getaway from Vladimir Osiortzis. He led into the first corner and he wouldn't let that lead slide. Claudio Remigio Capelli tried to get up the inside of Paul Dufresne in the early stages of the race for third place, but he couldn't quite execute it. Managed to keep the car on track, of course, and ran solidly in 5th place behind Gil Linster for most of the race until he lost out late on. We had some collisions and contact further back. That was one of the instances, but the main talking point all race long was this brilliant battle between the two Mustangs from Double V and Hendricks Motorsport. Martin Dubek in the 7, Patrick Schauber in the 27, having a delightful battle for position. Of course, further back in the pack as well, we had the battle between Dario Casso and young Jack Davidson, but that one wouldn't quite go as smoothly as the battle between Schauber and Dubek, and there's the proof in the pudding. Unfortunately, Jack Davidson getting a nudge from Dario Casso. Both drivers would fall down the order. Dario Casso wouldn't be out of the wars either. He would eventually accumulate 25 seconds worth of penalties by the end of the race. This one was worth 10. A second collision was worth 15. So dramas for sure, and rally crossing aplenty here at the circuit Ricardo Tormo. Meanwhile, the battle continued on as Patrick Schauber continued to find a way back past Martin Dubek each and every time he got past him. The 46 car sent Paolo Valeri into a spin, so Nick Schneider helping that spin happen. But let's go back down to Alberto Nasca, 2nd place with Andre Viegold.
Thank you so much, Adam. First question I have to ask. Were you surprised by the good start of Vladimiros in this race?
What, sorry?
The good start by Vladimiros. Were you surprised a little bit? He got a good jump, right?
The only day he didn't have to do a good start, he did it. Man.
What about your race?
I mean, I was really tired. I'm still recovering from the crash from 5 weeks ago. So it's really painful to race today. So I did my best. Jumping down of the Legend car, running to the box to jump on the NASCAR, getting used to new car like in one lap was not easy. In fact, in the first lap, I lost him. He was too fast. Then when I found the pace, I drove like 1/10 of a second from Vladdy. So, I mean, we were fast. So the car was good. We made a good change in the setup. The car was good, but it's too fast, this guy. Why is he racing only in the Pro?
But also, Valencia seems to be one of his favorite tracks, and you said this track is not suiting you so well. So, when we look in the championship, the bigger picture, you think you have all what it takes to be a championship contender again?
You can never say. I mean, I'm happy to race against Vladdy. I was joking. He's really fast, so he is a good reference. Jouffroy went super fast this year, so I'm happy to see new people fighting for the win. Yeah, the goal is to be the champion, and this is not our track, we know, so P2 is okay.
All right, thank you so much, and now you can enjoy a podium ceremony.
And a good sleep, like 10 hours straight.
Grazie.
If he could lend me 2 or 3 of those 10 hours, that would be amazing. I don't think I've slept 10 hours through in weeks. Clearly, he has put himself through a lot of exertion today as Alberto NASCAR between his Legends car and his stock car. And a well-earned rest incoming for him. And the rest of the paddock as they take a breather before the Sunday racing. Of course, we will have 15 more laps for EuroNASCAR 2 in the morning here on the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series stream as we get some more of the highlights. That was the 15-second penalty for Dario Casso, sending Kenko Miura into a spin late on. Of course, Kenko lost a couple of positions as a result of that, and this was the back half of the battle between Patrick Schauber and Martin Dubek. This was, I think, pretty much the last stand between the two of them. Schauber once again tried to find a way to hold on to the position, but eventually had to yield to Martin Dubek. And what are we going to get a look at here? Something we perhaps didn't see. No, this is an alternative view of the move from Dubek on Schauber. We see there Alberto NASCAR in conversation with the driver who is now his teammate, of course, car sharing with the other driver, I should say, of the 54, Gianmarco Colli. And I believe we are now going to get the podiums. Yes, we are. Up onto the third step of the podium goes Paul Jouffroy then. Solid start to his season. A statement of intent that Jouffroy is going to be a contender this year. And Alberto NASCAR is joined by Vladimir Osiortzis. The Super Cypriot takes a win in Valencia.
Ese aplauso para los 3 primeros clasificados. Don Gonzalo Gober, director del circuito Ricardo Tormo, la entrega del trofeo al tercer.
There you go then. Vladimir Osiortzis will receive a trophy for his efforts, but not before Paul Jouffroy claims his 3rd position trophy. That will feel particularly sweet for Jouffroy, who I think showed glimpses of his potential throughout last year and is now getting to display them in the very capable hands of the RDV team. And Frederic Gabillon, you could hardly wish for a more experienced teammate to pick the brain of either. Alberto NASCAR takes 2nd place, a good start to his season. Also claimed a win in the Legends earlier, so he will have lots of trophies to bring back to the hotel. But this man, Vladimir Osiortzis, will be delighted with his wares on this day. Vladimir Osiortzis then celebrating along with the other drivers on the overall podium. I think all three of them have just reason to be happy this evening, particularly Vladimir Osiortis, who of course debuted today in the EuroNASCAR Pro category. Now, he didn't manage to get the cork out of the bottle earlier on the EuroNASCAR Pro podium, but he's managed it this time. Good job, Vladimiros. He sprays the champagne along with his podium sitters. The most successful day of Vladimir Osiortis' career, I think that much is for certain. 2 pole positions, 2 podiums, one of them celebrating his second win and an early championship lead in the EuroNASCAR 2 category. So then, the second podium, I believe we are going to show this as well. That is going to be the Legend Trophy podium. Will be Kenko Miura on the 3rd step. So then, the Legend Trophy podium, Kenko Miura. 3rd step of the podium for him. 2nd step for Roberto Benedetti and Ricardo Romagnoli, with a win in the 65, making up for his slightly tough performance earlier on in EuroNASCAR Pro. Ricardo Romagnoli had 2 spins that we saw on camera, of course, in EuroNASCAR Pro, but an absolutely stunning performance earlier on in this EuroNASCAR 2 race has more than made up for it. Of course, he was in there in that battle for 6th as well, watching as Schauber and Dubek continued their fight, but I think he was always thinking about this trophy more so than trying to get 6th position. And the Legend Trophy win goes to Romagnoli. Good to see Kenko Miura back on the podium as well, of course. He went and did some one-off appearance mid-Ohio in NASCAR trucks last year, of course, and also came and rejoined us for Zolder in the EuroNASCAR series, and I believe he's intending to do a full year with Team Japan. Great to have Kenko Miura back. And the Rookie Trophy coming up now. Jack Davidson on his debut up to the top step. 2nd place for Toffel. And the winner, Thomas Dombrowski, who we, of course, heard from earlier on. And you could tell he was spent after the race. Everyone looking fairly satisfied with their wares on the podium, of course. I think the contact with Dario Casso will loom large in the thoughts of Davidson, because he was in the rookie lead at the time. But still plenty of positives to take away from that race for Davidson, that much is for certain. Dombrowski receives the winner's trophy then. Congratulations to all 3 parties on a good performance. Dombrowski with the early lead then in the Rookie Trophy of the EuroNASCAR 2 category. So they will make an orderly trip away from podium. And I believe we will also see the Lady Trophy winner, Ariana Casoli, head up onto the podium as well. Here she is, just the one Lady Trophy competitor in this race. Of course, we've got quite a lot of female representation this year in EuroNASCAR Pro. Casoli, the only lady trophy competitor this weekend. She had a good result there. Came home in 19th place, and we'll hope to build on that for the next one. Ariana has been racing for a long time, I believe 1996, her first racing in Italy. And certainly a very experienced competitor. Great to see her enjoying the first race of the EuroNASCAR 2 season. So then Sunday will bring us more racing in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. It is going to be a race apiece for EuroNASCAR 2 and EuroNASCAR Pro, of course. Starting at 10:25 local time here at Valencia, we will have the EuroNASCAR 2 round number 2, race number 2 of the season at 2:05 local time. The EuroNASCAR Pro drivers take to the grid one last time for another 18-lap dose of action. Who will be on top in both races tomorrow? Vladimiros Tsiortis could well do 2 from 2 on Sunday. He's got the opportunity. Let's see if he capitalizes on it. It's been a great first day of racing in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Thank you so much for joining us. See you again tomorrow. Have a good evening.